Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I'm going to be doing another movie review. This movie is a collaboration between Australia and Germany, so it's got a bit of German language English subs and a bit of English language. Released in the year 2017, directed by Kate Shortland, and this film is called Berlin Syndrome. So Berlin Syndrome is about this woman from Brisbane, Australia. She's going backpacking through Germany and she meets this very charming, handsome man who quickly falls in love with her. And so they have a little bit of a wild sort of romance, and one morning this backpacker realises that the man has gone to work and she can't get out of the apartment. So she believes that this is just an innocent mistake. When the man comes back from work, he says, "I'm sorry, I didn't realise, I'll leave you a key next time." So the next morning rolls by and she tries to use the key to get out of the apartment, but it's the wrong key. And so she starts to panic. She believes, okay, something is wrong here. And when he comes home, this is where she realises that she is in for a terrifying nightmare because the man is not going to let her go. He loves her and he's not going to let her go back to Australia because that means that she's going to go out of his life. And so she realises that this guy wants a lot more than what they had, and she's going to have to try and make an escape if she's ever to return back to Australia. So whether or not she can is something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on Berlin Syndrome. I had a lot of expectations coming into this film. Not only did a lot of people like it, but Kate Shortland was the director. Now Kate Shortland made a film called Somersault. I can't remember too much about that film because I saw it a long time ago, but what I remember is, number one, it was actually shot in my city of Canberra, and number two, the characters were very absorbing. So that was a romance. It wasn't a thriller, and it's not necessarily my speciality, but I absorbed myself into that experience because of the characters. The characters are very realistic, and there was a strange absorbing quality to these characters that kept me glued to the screen and I couldn't look away. So that's something that is an indication of a very good director, if they can actually make a film that is not your speciality as far as genre is concerned and still make you as interested as you are. So I was hoping that Kate Shortland could actually bring that to Berlin Syndrome. On the outside, this movie feels like, it looks like a typical thriller, but I knew that Kate Shortland does have fine attention to detail as far as things are concerned that other filmmakers don't worry about. And if you have those very fine details and you actually build on them, they can actually create an experience that is a lot more than you would first initially think. And after seeing Berlin Syndrome, I will say that's exactly what Kate Shortland does. This is a movie on the outside that is a thriller. It's about love, it's about psychosis, it's about, basically falling for the wrong man, and nothing is as it seems. But on the inside, you've got a very strong character study. You've got a woman played by Teresa Palmer, who I think did a fantastic job at portraying a very innocent lady. This is a woman that I could connect to straight away. You get the sense that she's very likable. And in a thriller, this is what I mean by fine attention to detail. In a thriller, if you've got a strong level of innocence that a bad guy can prey upon, then that's what makes it terrifying. I wanted this woman to get out of this predicament, and I could feel her pain. The way that she goes in and the way the character develops from this innocent person who doesn't know any better to a person who's struggling for survival, I never thought that she loses her personality. I always thought this is the same person just put under extreme situation, and it's a very realistic portrayal. Therefore, if you get a realistic portrayal of a character, you can get a realistic portrayal of a storyline, therefore you can relate to it, and it makes it even scarier. Then you've got Max Riemelt, who plays the bad guy, and this is something I also liked, is that he's not a stereotypical villain. This is a guy that you hate for what he's doing to this poor woman, but there's a strong sense of pathetic quality to this character. This is a guy who wants love. He is striving out to long for a connection, and that's something you can relate to. This is something that everyone deserves. Everyone deserves happiness, but this loneliness has actually molded him into a psychotic character, and when he goes through his things and he's doing these things to this woman, you feel as though, okay, this is a villain, but this is a villain who is a result of his circumstances. This is a product of who he is. He is a very handsome man. On the outside, he's very confident, but on the inside, you sense he's not very confident, and he is willing to go to any lengths in order to get the happiness that he wants. And so I thought the character dynamic between Teresa Palmer and Max Riemelt was absolutely fantastic, and that's what makes Berlin Syndrome the film that it is. The cinematography is excellent. As I said, it's a very raw and gritty feeling that the film has. Nothing is ever glorified. Nothing, the theatrics in this film are non-existent. So it's a very strong realistic portrayal of, as I said, a twisted romance. And when that twisted romance goes into very dark areas, I thought it was very scary, very suspenseful, and it was just the acting that really took me off guard. I wasn't expecting the performances I got from these characters, but as I said, this is something that Kate Shortland does so well. So the continuity is very good. I thought that the soundtrack was very haunting, and so as far as the thriller is concerned, concerned, I thought it was absolutely fantastic. And as far as a psychological drama and a character study of damaged people is concerned, I thought it was equally as fantastic. So it does, it backs off on the violence. There is a little bit of violence, but it doesn't really rely on the violence itself. It relies on the threat of violence. It relies on what is this guy capable of. And so there are glimpses in this villain that show a very damaged person, and so I could actually connect to the villain as well. And so that's something that you want from a thriller. And as I said, when you do all these small things right, they actually they add up to something that is very, very rewarding. So I think the horror set pieces in this film wouldn't work as well as they did if the characters were not as gone into as much. So Teresa Palmer and Max Remelt, they really make the film stick together, and as a result of that, it's a movie that I am highly, highly recommending. So it's a very haunting film. I thought it was a beautiful movie, at the same time a very sad film, and as a result of that, I think Kate Shortland made another fantastic movie, and I'm going to give Berlin Syndrome 4 stars. Alright guys, that's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later. Bye.